So, hello. You are listening to the Universal Consciousness Show, the show for the thinking global citizen. My name is Augie, and I'm one of the hosts, and my co-host is Diana over in Germany. Hello, Diana.
Hello, everyone. I'm here.
All right. And first of all, I want to get you introduced to our guest here shortly, but I want to let you also know how you can connect with us. For those of you that want to listen to this show again, you will find us on YouTube, of course, and also at our website, the Universal Consciousness Show. And we'll find us on Twitter under my name, and on Facebook, same place under my name, and a lot of other places that it shows up where we send it. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because then you can get a note showing when the next video comes out. So, and also send me a friend request on Facebook. I pretty much, accept everybody, just about everybody. And then I want to let you all know that Revolution Radio is a member and listener supported radio. So it is important that you help support it so we can have shows like this and the other 90 some shows that they have to make sure it stays on the air. Because we are the voice of freedom, we are the voice of knowledge. We all stations here are the voice of the free world, not the controlled, locked down world that you otherwise see when you turn the knob to the right on your TV. Well, that dates me, doesn't it? You don't have knobs on TV anymore. Anyway, we are going to have an excellent guest with us here. She is a paranormal researcher, a psychic medium, and she has put together a paranormal research group, and she's had some very strange experiences we're going to talk about. So welcome to the show there, Audrey Baldwin.
Thank you. How's everyone doing?
Hello, Aubrey, and thank you very much for being with us here today. For the people that don't know you yet, could you tell us how did it all begin for you? What experience ignited your interest to the paranormal, so to speak?
When I was about 4 years old, I was living in an apartment complex over here in the US with my family, and I was having experiences of some sort of spiritual being, some entity that would come out of my closet. And he would identify himself as Alphonse. And every time I was upset, angry, stressed out, imagining what stress a 4-year-old can experience, this entity, this being would show itself and be a calm and comfort to me. Now, as a kid, I thought this was normal. Everyone has a person living in their closet. But as I grew older, I realized that wasn't normal. And as I'd gone on, I discovered that a lot of people were having interesting experiences, and such as this one. I started reading about the paranormal when I was younger and was more able to understand. And I realized, yes, I was seeing a ghost in my closet.
Yeah. And haven't you noticed maybe over the years and the decades as we grow into this a little bit that the paranormal becomes more like normal?
Yes, for me, it's more of an everyday experience. There isn't something that happens in my daily life that that's paranormal itself. I'm always having weird and unique experiences.
Yeah, at least we once we start accepting it, I think maybe that has something to do with once the mind accepts it, then the filters in the subconscious loosen up a little bit and let many more of those experiences through all the way up to conscious understanding, and we start seeing and experiencing more once we accept it. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. As I grew older and I was having these experiences, my natural filters, my walls, everything had come down. And when that happened, I just accepted it that yes, this is something different. Yes, I am different. And the more open that you are to things like this, then definitely, yes, it is going to happen more and more. You're making yourself susceptible to what's out there.
Yeah, I know in my case, it's almost like I welcome it. I want to have these experiences because I want to learn more about the universe behind the veil.
Exactly. I mean, I believe it definitely exists.
Yeah. Yeah, and the question is, do we really exist?
Well, we're all made up of energy, and energy, regardless, does not break down, or I believe it just goes into another form when we pass.
Yeah.
So, regardless of what happens to our bodies, whether we're buried, uh, have an arrow launched at a Viking ship, or cremated, that energy's still going to be there.
Yeah.
So, regardless as if the body is living, if it's dead, if it's well beyond dust, yes,
Mm.
definitely we exist in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and from what I see, there's more and more of these things happening, and I know you are dealing with this on probably on a more regular basis than most people because you put together a team up there and created a group where you do deal with these kinds of things. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the group I have that I helped form, it's called Sinline Paranormal. We're based out of Chatsford, Pennsylvania, over here in the States. It first started out with being invited to a local museum to check out some of the activity, if there was any activity. I mean, a lot of things that happen can be easily explained, but then there are those things that can't easily be explained. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for uh, proof of a possible afterlife. We're looking, okay, what do these energy levels do? What is this a picture of? What exactly am I talking to through this radio or this SB7 spirit box? We want to know what is out there. We want to know what the unknown, what is beyond that veil, what is the unknown.
Mm-hmm. Are you using any equipment, kind of like this tape recorder that is being sold on eBay and places for about $1,500 that can record voices from across the veil, or maybe the Tesla Spirit Radio or anything like that?
I use a very wide variety of instruments, as well as one of my team members, whose name's Josh.
Yeah.
I myself use an SB7 Spirit Box. I use the voice recorder on my phone because it's digital and it's easier for me to listen later on in playback.
Uh-huh.
I have an Eton radio, which much works like the SB7 Spirit Box. It's just bigger. We have EMF detectors and K2 meters, which measure the electronic magnetic field in the area. If it goes well beyond a 1, we may have something.
Mm-hmm.
I myself have dowsing rods, pendulum, and we also go along with some of our feelings, our emotions, some of the things that we may pick up on.
Mm-hmm. And you're getting some good results with that? Some really goofy stuff once in a while?
Oh, we do. As a matter of fact, a couple months back when I had visited a location not far from my home with a few other individuals, I did some EVP work, which EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomena. basically voices come out of thin air, and after several of the questions I had asked, I was getting responses, intelligent responses.
Mm-hmm. And you could hear the words and in the response.
Yes,
Oh,
they sounded almost like whispers, but they were very loud whispers.
Mm. Boy, that's interesting. Yeah. Can you have conversations with them, lengthy conversations, or do they just show up and then disappear after a few seconds?
Well, not necessarily. Sometimes they'll stick with us through an entire investigation, and much like a child when it's extremely tired, eventually they'll just disappear for a while until whomever comes along the next time to seek them out.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I've never been involved in anything like that, but it's really fascinating what can I know you're not alone doing this. There's people in other parts of the country and the world doing these things, and they have some of the same results as you just talked about. So this is not a one-time thing. This is a phenomena that is across the board. It is there and it can be tapped into.
Definitely.
Yeah, and people by doing that, you could have. I know there are other people also. I'm going to ask you secondary here if you've done the same thing. There are people on the other side that wants to have something happen in this reality, and they convey the message to people on this side so they can get some things or get some information or get some things done. Have you ever conveyed some messages to maybe someone's relative or something like that?
I myself usually convey messages to my mother.
Uh-huh.
Whether she actually listens to me or not is still something that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh.
I've tried to relay messages to family members, for friends, other family. Again, it's their choice to listen. They're not our toys or puppets to demand things from. When they want to do it, that's when they want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we should respect that because they're still individuals on the other side.
Right. They are still energy that we on occasion feel, sense, or even touch.
Mhm. Okay.
But
Yeah.
can you connect your experience and your knowledge that you gained with these paranormal experiences? Can you connect everything also with the new science, with quantum mechanics, with parallel universum, with string theory? So where are these beings coming from? Can you make a connection with the science?
Uh, Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But both are not definitive sciences. It's to me, it's a lot of synchronicities and coincidences.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If you happen to see a ghost come out of nowhere, it could be by chance you were meant to be there. The universe told you you were going to be there. You just happened to be there subconsciously or consciously, however you're there. And stuff like this again with science and the supernatural. Again, they're both realistic, but me my opinion is it's all coincidence. It's all synchronicities. It's meant to happen one way or another. You just can't tell the universe, yeah, it's going to happen.
Mhm.
It's just going to happen the way it wants to happen.
You mentioned also just a little while ago that there may be physical contact. So actually, you
Yes.
can feel something with maybe your hands, or you can feel somebody touching you, or that means there's more than just consciousness on their part. They have a way to let themselves become partially or semi-physical, so you can feel the touch.
Yes. They have their ways to move subatomic particles, to moving energy to a point enough to where we're going to feel it in this reality.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how they do that.
I'm still working on that.
Yeah, I'm all ears. Yeah, that is interesting. But this is, of course, is a study that is, well, it's kind of in its infancy, and I think it's going to open up when it becomes more accepted by science that this is not woo. This is something that can be explained by quantum mechanics because of the difference in multi-dimensional universes or parallel universes. Quantum mechanics speak of that. And since there is other universes or another existence next to us, it makes sense to think that there may be people or intelligences living in that reality. Wouldn't it?
Right. For all we know, these are trans-dimensional beings that are traveling from their side over to this one, and because perhaps our mind just can't wrap itself around them being here, so we may be explaining them off, okay, it's a ghost, it's some sort of supernatural entity, it's a demon, and here it's just a person that wants to pop over and say hi. Hey, we exist, we're not fake, we are here. Our minds just aren't ready to, some of us aren't ready to believe it. A lot of people believe that there's still just this one side, but they don't understand there's more than one.
Yeah, we are multi-dimensional beings. So there's a part of us that just might be in their reality that maybe they cannot even see.
Right, for all we know, as much as they appear as white mist or shadows, maybe that's how we appear to them. We're just shadows.
Yeah.
Or mist or orbs or just little balls of light just bouncing around.
Speaking of shadows, we have this concept called shadow people.
Yes.
And you probably see them too.
Quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, they're everywhere around this place.
Yes. To me, I believe that they are either some sort of trans-dimensional being or a partial manifestation of a spirit. Some spirits, I believe, are not strong enough to show themselves. So we may just get shadows. Again, we may just get the little orbs. We may get strange sounds or balls of light bouncing around in a room.
Yeah. And then there is this story about there's a pastor in I think down in this Midwest, South Midwest somewhere. He wrote a book. I think it's called The Chapel in the Hills or Chapel of the Hills, where he talk about the mind mirror. And in fact, I'm going to take 45 seconds to tell this story because it is so impelling. Because the people, they set up this glass square wall, glass behind glass, so that it's somewhat similar to what the Egyptians did with the mind mirror over there. And you go into this room where there's just glass walls and they're dark, and you sit in there and they sit there and pray. And they want to contact someone that has departed. And very often, that person that they are wanting to make contact with walk right out of the wall and into the room with them. And there was one woman that she didn't get anything in the room. She got home and she was trying to get a hold of her son that was killed in an accident. And she was sitting in her bedroom, sitting on the edge of the bed, just thinking. And through the door, her son came walking in. And he walked up to her and he says, "Don't worry, Mom, I'm fine. Everything is good here." And they talked for a little bit. She asked him a few questions. And she rose up and he hugged her. And she could feel the body. And he says, "I can't stay very long. I got to go." He walked through the door and she walked after him and he was gone. This is written up in the book by someone, by a lady that, I mean, she swore to this is what happened. And that may have been a residual from her experience by sitting in the mind mirror inside that room for 2 hours, praying to wanting to talk to him. Really strange things like this can happen when you use technology together with the mind.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you had any physical no, you done some experiences with had some experiences with the investigations there. Have you had any physical sensations or somebody touching your shoulder? Sometimes that happens. What have you had happen like that?
There have been moments where I had wished I'd seen my mother smiling, happy, not sick. Sadly, my mother had passed over 5 years ago. And one night I sat there, I closed my eyes, I said, I wish there were another way that I could feel you.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt as if someone had wrapped their arms around me and they were giving me a hug. And I felt this cool breeze against my cheek, almost as if someone had given me a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
All I could do was smile and say, "Thanks, Mom. That's what I needed."
Yeah, and that coolness that comes because when they come into your reality, then they suck the heat out of this one because it takes energy for them to do it. So there is a
Right.
connection between that.
Yeah, they need to find some sort of energy to manifest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They just, it's not something to where they can knock on the door, open it, and be like, "Can I borrow a battery?" No. They
Yeah.
need to there's a lot of energy in the world around us. It's just a matter, they have to find a way to tap into it to be able to appear.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
what was your most interesting experience, the most profound experience that you can never forget?
My most profound experience, one of my most profound experiences, um, it was very early in the morning, and I was rising to get out of bed to get ready to go to a job. It felt as if someone took their hand, scrambled my brains around, and I was lifted anywhere from 3 to 4 inches off the ground and thrown.
wow.
I was thrown into a dresser.
Hmm.
I had the scratches on my arm, and I knew then something either was there with me or something was trying to make themselves known to say, "Hey, you're not the one in charge here. I am."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That
Scared the heck out of me, that's for sure.
yeah, and then you wonder, was that a good experience or was it meant as a threatening or otherwise experience? And sometimes,
I think more it was more more like a reminder that yes, that other world does exist.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of those things I needed to experience. Something had to show me that, yes, we are here and we're not to be joked with.
Yeah. But if you develop a kind of a mental relationship with them and an understanding based on respect, they could start answering questions and working with you from that side too.
Correct. I believe it's like building a friendship.
Yeah, there you go.
You want to create some sort of deep and meaningful relationship to be able to talk to them, to listen. They'll show you things, we'll be able to show them things. And it's like, even when I go out for an investigation today, as much as I like checking out unexplored places, I also like going into places I've already been to, because they're already used to me being there.
Yeah.
They'll answer questions. They'll make some sort of appearance in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so much. And for you, those of you that want to learn more about the mind mirror, you can Google Raymond Moody. He's the guy that put that room, the glass room together. Raymond Moody. And you probably even heard of him, I imagine.
I have. I've also heard the term, instead of mind mirror, I've also heard the term psychomantium.
Aha, yeah, that's right. It's probably the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is not the one that wrote Life After Life? Dr. Raymond Moody? Or it's
Yeah, I
another
think
one?
Life After Life, that wasn't Raymond Moody, was it? That was someone else, I think.
Okay, I thought it was him. Okay.
It may have been, yeah. Okay. But when you look at your experiences, what do you believe more is real? Maybe could it be explained through science, or is it just superstition? Let's keep in mind that science from, let's say, 200 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, some of that science has been proven to be just superstition. And then again, some of the superstitions from 100 years ago has now proven to be real. What in the world are we supposed to believe anymore? Oh, that's a difficult one, isn't it?
That's an interesting question. Even 20, 30 years ago, they'd look at a cell phone and go, "What the heck is that?"
Yeah. And if you took that cell phone back to about 1680, you would have been a bonfire by now.
You would have been extra crispy up on that post.
Yeah. So back then, of course, religion was science.
Mm-hmm.
Now it is separated some, but they are making their ways together. There will be a day when superstition or other things will have a place under the roof of science. Because some of the superstitions, there is something to it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just taking us time to gather the facts, to have our experiences, to see what's really out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you looked into quantum mechanics much?
On the side, here and there, I've also am a fan of string theory.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah,
too.
that's good. Yeah. The more you delve into quantum mechanics, the more explanations you find for what's going on around you that you normally are not aware of.
That is true.
Yeah.
But even with some of my beliefs, I don't think science truly hasn't, well, maybe down the line, but I don't believe that they have ability to explain everything completely away. There is some mystery that's still out there, and that's the thing I believe that people love. The mystery, what's out there, what's truly going on out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of those things cannot be explained in physical concepts, because I call it spiritual science.
True.
Yeah.
But I love the science, but I also love the mystery of it.
Oh, absolutely. And there's so much behind, especially in quantum mechanics. Science can be wonderful, but you always ask, when you see an experiment work, why and how? You can even see it, maybe there is a physical explanation to it, but why does it work this way? And then sometimes science is stumped. They can't go there. But if you step outside of the physical into spiritual science and quantum mechanics, then it can be explained. So I think that's something that we all should look into. Maybe just pick up some books on quantum mechanics and start reading it, because there is parts of the universe that'll open up to us that we haven't thought of before.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
That's what I've definitely been doing. I said, because I mean, I know there's a lot of people that believe in the supernatural and the paranormal, but some things, okay, it's okay to have some sort of scientific explanation. Again, as I said, I still love the mystery of it, but it would be nice to marry the two, to make it that much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I've also done some reading with string theory and whatnot, and I find it all fascinating regardless.
So, do you think that we can exist in more dimensions in the same time?
I wouldn't see as to why not, but I believe we may need to be in different forms. We may need to have a physical body in this one, but who's to say that in the next one, all we need to be is pure energy?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on where you are.
Yeah. And being a multidimensional being, that perfectly well explains that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, what does your group that you put together there, what do you know, what kind of stuff do you investigate, or what do you do there?
Well, what we do is we investigate for possible proof of an afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of places that we go to, when you look at them, I could easily see, okay, this is going to be residual. This is all this that's happening here is going to be nothing but like watching a videotape or a DVD. This is the energy that is in this house or in this place.
Yeah.
But then there are other places which say, you know, they're answering all your questions. They're practically doing spiritual backflips for you to get your attention. And that could be something else. As I mentioned, sometimes you never know what you're walking into.
Mm-hmm.
I could say one thing, walk in, do a 4-hour investigation, and hear something completely other than what I had thought of.
Yeah, you really don't know what you can expect.
Exactly. You're never gonna know what's truly inside the chocolate bunny until you crack it open.
I have a saying that I've been using ever so often, and that is that just because you're dead, it doesn't make you smart. So
Exactly.
so I would think that, let's say, a disembodied entity on the other side They left the physical arena and ended up there with the same kind of, especially in the lower astral worlds, they ended up there with the same kind of consciousness that they had in the physical. So they may not know everything that is behind the veil. So if we ask them questions, we just might get only their opinion.
True. As I said, I think with some of us that keep building that relationship, more and more is going to come out. They're going to talk more. They're going to make some sort of communication more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But these disembodied entities, have you found them that they sometimes will be lying to you, or would they be truthful most of the time?
That sometimes they tell the truth. A lot of times they could lie. As I said, you never know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be good spirits, or in some matters, they could be darker spirits.
Yeah.
And 90% of the time, the darker spirits like to lie.
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah.
try to pull you into some sort of false reality, some falsehoods that may lead you down a dark path later on in your own life.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pranksters out there. They enjoy
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah. And the one that feeds on emotion, and
Yes.
especially the emotion of fear. And that's probably why someone that walks into, let's say, a badly haunted house, if they have no fear, they don't see anything or hear anything or experience anything. Someone that goes in there that is scared out of their wits, they might just, they might discover some things. Their instruments might show something, because I think the mind has a big part of this investigation, not just the electronic instruments. What do you think?
That's a good one. I believe in the law of attraction. If you want something to happen, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If you're constantly negative, if you're a cruel person, you're going to draw in that darker person, that darker spirit. You become a magnet for them.
Yeah.
But if you tend to be a good person, you're well natured, hey, the nicer spirits are going to come out and talk to you. You're going to build that relationship. You're going to build up means and forms of communication with them.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Like seek like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that goes across the border of realities.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, so you mentioned negative spirits. And do you feel like, and you probably run into some of them?
I believe I have.
Yeah. What, even if you have a negative, or say, dark spirit, can that still be a positive experience?
It can, because it may show you that that's the type of entity you do not want to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you do anything to put yourself in a bubble of bright white light or anything for yourself when you go into a situation like that?
I usually take a bath of sea salt and rose water. I say prayers before I even walk in the door.
Oh, yeah.
I make sure that I'm protected. I make sure that my team is protected.
Yeah.
Even as a rule in our group, right now we have 4 members. No member goes alone. Even if we must take turns at exploring certain parts of a property, it's just safer that way.
Oh, absolutely. I can see that. Yeah, if one feels like they're being attacked by something, then the other one could help them out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. What if you, let's say, if you were to walk across that border of the veil, what do you think it would look like on the other side?
I think it would just be the mirror opposite of this one.
Mm-hmm.
May
Well,
look, it may be a bright sunny day all the time. It could be constant night.
yeah. Actually, you just said it though, a mirror expression of this. That is what it is in the lower astral world. Everything is backwards, like looking in a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make sense. What do you think would be the first? Let's say that somebody dropped the body and they end up on the other side. What do you think would be the first thing they would see, or many of them would see?
I honestly think that could that could be a tough one. Many people think that they're going to see a white light and all the souls that have passed before them. Some people think it could be St. Peter. Some think it could be a giant snake.
Yeah.
It all depends on the person and possibly what they believed in before they passed.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because what they see may be a reflection of what they thought of in this life.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a lot of people that died on the operating table, and they came back and talked about it, and they said they met their mom on the other side, and there's definitely things over there that survives this reality. So that would be very likely to happen, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Even as my mother was slowly passing, she would say that her brothers were waiting for her, and I know that all 5 of her brothers have already passed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's another saying out there, and that is that no one ever dies alone. I think that's probably not necessarily always. Accidents can happen, maybe. I don't know. But usually, like you said, your mom saw her brother, so there's someone there to kind of receive you, more or less, wouldn't it be?
Yes. It
Yeah.
could be past relatives, it could be an angel, or in some cases it could be a demon.
Oh, that's a bad thought.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, tell him to go away.
Yes. That's
Uh,
when you tell them they need you may need to repent, buddy.
yeah. Hmm. Let me ask you another question. We're all talking about from time to time disclosure. What do you think? How do you think, or what do you think, or when, or how do you think something like that would happen? Because there will be a day when mankind as a whole will know that we're not alone because the evidence will be right in front of us. But how do you think that could happen?
It, it's going to happen. It could be a massive disaster. It could be the world explodes and there's nothing left and all we are is energy floating through space and
Yeah.
yeah. But it's going to happen. It could be someone discovers something that's so definitive that it's going to be very difficult to just pass it off as nonsense.
Yeah, and you know the thing about it though, if government gets their hands on it first, they're gonna cover it up like they did with us in Antarctica.
Oh, I believe that. I mean, there are probably so many cures out there for specific diseases, but as they say, it's more lucrative to treat a disease as it is to cure it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they've discovered over the 40 plus years of my life, I've heard them discover cures for cancer, for AIDS, for childhood diseases, but within days, those stories are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, they've even come out with stories where you can run a car engine with water, just regular water.
Yeah.
And that's not lucrative for the oil industry or the automotive, well, possibly the automotive industry, but not for fossil fuels and such.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and these technologies, they may not necessarily, many of these technologies anyway, they may not have come from an alien origin. And I know down in Australia, they are, I mean, Antarctica, they found some things down there. Then the major corporations are down there trying to extract these technologies, and so they can make money on it. And we, of course, will be on the receiving end of that, supposedly, whenever that comes to light. But the disclosure as such, I think if the sky was full of ships one morning when you wake up, that could not be covered up. Or if a 40-mile long cigar shaped mothership crashed, let's say in New York, that can't be covered up. So there could be incidences that cannot be explained away, and that is what I think that it might happen, because I don't think government will ever come forward and say, well, sorry guys, we lied to you for 70 years. No, they're not going to do that.
You never know. But that means they would have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And sometimes the truth may be a little ugly.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah, what's next for you now? What are you? What's your next projects, or what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to working on a book, basically about my experiences, a lot of experiences with my team, possibly about the team itself, because we're a lovely group of people. I'm also in the works of writing another online blog about my experiences.
Oh yeah.
So that way to share with everyone that cares to read.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting. You write that, and you would write about your investigations and your conclusions to that, probably.
Yes. To show that there's more than one side to this train of thought. I mean, a lot of the paranormal, from what you see or read, a lot of it, and tends to be a lot of the same regurgitated information. It's by sharing what we see, what we find, maybe that'll bring light to something. Maybe that'll help people. Okay, maybe we should try this, or maybe we should try that.
Yeah.
Because it can't be the same information over and over and over. No, there has to be something new in there. And through time, research, study, I think we will crack that eggshell, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you write firsthand like that, that is firsthand information. It's not like writing about somebody else's experience where some things may have been left out.
Exactly. This is information that's coming from my eyes, my ears, my brain. Everything is coming out firsthand.
Yeah. I see we got a minute left of the show here, so where can people get a hold of you if they got something really goofy going on in their house and they want to talk to you?
We may be found on Facebook. All you need to do is search for Thin Line Paranormal. We also have an email address, which is thinlineparanormal@gmail.com. We have access to that email address and that site 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's always one of us on those, either that site or that email. We're always ready to answer.
Ah, okay. Are you having members of your group that you're working with in other countries, overseas maybe also? Is it just on the American continent so far?
Mostly all on the American continent. However, if anyone would like to say, if we have an issue and would like to advise us or counsel us, please, they're more than welcome to come find us on either Facebook or send us an email. We'll be more than happy to chat or talk.
All right. Yeah, that's good. And you got 24-hour monitoring there. That's good because a lot of times when somebody got a need, they need help right now.
And I'm usually the first person that's up late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. All right. Well, we are just about down to the end here. And if you right now could talk to the whole world, Audrey, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to be a little adventurous. Keep on looking. The answers are there. They may just be underneath the surface. You just have to scratch deep enough to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to go look for it.
Yeah, the answer, I mean, the truth is out there, right?
Exactly. I have that poster right in my bedroom.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It says the truth is out there.
Yeah. And you know what that means? That means that we gotta get out there to find it.
Everyone has to start looking.
Yeah.
Stop being closed-minded and keep looking, keep going.
Yeah. The mind is kind of like a parachute. It sure isn't any good for you unless it is open.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we are down to the end of the show here, and I thank you very much, Audrey, for being with us. And then we will be back next week with another show, and we will now, I guess they're going to run commercials any second here, so let's all of us just go ahead and terminate the call, and that way we will leave it open for them to do their thing.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Aggie.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Available options like archives